Hello, hello. So, finally, the third attempt. I want to make a video about the future of architecture. And I've been thinking about this for years and years and years, and my thoughts, they keep on expanding and evolving in the direction of the future into the infinity. And the more I learn, the more I can adjust my future vision and what is necessary for building and what materials are necessary and structures and so on. And I came to the conclusion that the future of architecture here on Earth is gonna look the same as the future of architecture on Mars and also on the moon. So I don't know about other planets. I don't know whether there is an atmosphere on other planets. But if there is no oxygen on other planets, then it is necessary to build the same structure, the same dome structures that will have to be built on Mars and in the future here on Earth as well. And the future starts right now because of global warming, increased storms and hurricanes, extreme weather patterns, also all kinds of problems, radiation problem, there could be nuclear catastrophes, there could be the oxygen level going down because of overfishing and ecosystem destruction in the oceans as well as on land, caused by humans, caused by human commerce. This is the truth. And if we look at it from a wider perspective, maybe we can say that this is an inevitable development. And some people think, oh, if we could just educate people better, or if we could just do this and struggle a whole lot as environmentalists and get the message across, that covers 1% if we are lucky. Okay, that's the truth. So the fact still remains that even if people are educated on the dangers of pesticides and the dangers of sewage facilities that take the nutrients away from the land, soil depletion is the result of it, then most people are still not going to listen. They might register this and say, oh, well, but hey, but my paycheck, my dependency on this corporation, or my dependency on whatever marketing structure or production line is going on that they're depending on, and they don't want to change it because that would cost money. They don't want to change things around because they're making money. They don't want to cause any problems that would disturb this money making chain that is going on. So that is, well, the majority of people are like this. And then there's a very large percentage also of people that are I don't know how large, but very large percentage of corporate type of people that are greed based, that have nothing else going on in their minds other than making more money. And I've seen this, and it has almost like a character of there's stupidity in it. It's a it has a character of, it's almost like a mechanistic process that is detached from intelligence. Because there's nothing intelligent about a production line that is destructive and will hurt not only others or the world, but it hurts them as well down the line. And they still can't see this. They can't sort it out. They can only see greed, money, more income, more profit. And that's a pathology. Okay, it is genetic, but still pathology. So I believe it can be healed, but there are a whole lot of modalities for holistic healing that are needed, that need to be set up for these people to heal. Okay, for these people to go into a meditation, particularly Samadhi meditation, where they can calm down the brain and start questioning their own greed system. Questioning it all the time, like every day, all the time. Every time it comes back up, question it. This is greed. Is this intelligent? Is this next move going to be intelligent? Is it intelligent there are people in India that are creating herbal powders they're selling those worldwide. Is it intelligent of them to add a toxic chemical, a toxic heavy metal to it, like lead, so that the powder will weigh more and they get more money for the powder? Is that an intelligent move? Okay, it's a very important question to ask. Is that an intelligent move? Is that a class 1 experience? Something that feels good, is good for you, is good for others, and serves the greater good? Is that what it is? No, it's not. It's not intelligence. It's not kind. It is not well. It is unwell. It is based on pathological greed. It's based on total unintelligence and lack of caring, no compassion, and it's just totally destructive for the world. Okay, this is very true. I mean, we have to really look at these things. So is it intelligent what Volodymyr Zelensky is doing? Is that intelligent to decline peace talks? Okay, is that an intelligent action? No, it's not. What causes him to do this? Greed. He is on the take from the corporate agenda. Okay, there's a whole lot of industries that are making profit on war, and he's right in the middle of this. He's their cash cow, basically, and he's completely tethered to them. And he's also, I think, under a threat as well. So he is weak, he is greedy, and he already has corpses in the cellar, not just a few. He is responsible for, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people's death because of this war. Okay, and it's not the fault of Russia or Vladimir Putin. Okay. Vladimir Putin wanted peace all along. Okay. This is a fact. Okay, so we have to, coming back to the main subject, I don't want to sway out too far. We have to question all the time, is what I'm doing here intelligent? Is this gonna make the world better? Or is this gonna cause serious problems down the line? whatever, war or environmental destruction or cruelty, whatever it is that people are profiting on, whoever these beings are that are being exploited, okay, by corporate profit-oriented people. So it's very important, that we move towards making the world well instead of causing more problems. Okay, and so Donald Trump and Elon Musk are set out and have already done a whole lot to make the world well. That's the truth. And they will do a whole lot more to make the world well, to make the world heal. Okay, that is what they want to do. The whole world, as far out as possible, they want to heal everything. Those are saviors, those people. Those are the real saviors, not Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is not, he's not a savior. Friedrich Nietzsche used to say, someone needs to come in there and save you from your savior. Because that's just just an idol. Okay? That idol is idle. An idol. An idol. Idol. Spelled slightly differently. But I think these words are related somewhere down the line. A very idol. Okay. That's not good. That doesn't help anyone. No, we need to have active people, active participants to make the world a better place. Real active saviors. And those active saviors are Donald Trump and Elon Musk. That's a fact. Okay. So, regarding architecture, my dad is an architect, and he was a post-modern architect, and he had a specific style, and it was very pretty and everything, but that is not sustainable for the future, his style. But he's from another era, of course, was born in 1930, so that's a long time ago era, and the way they build in the post-modern era it became more individualized and everything, and some architecture is very good. My dad's is very good, but it's not sustainable. We need to have sustainable architecture. This is very, very, very important, and we need to put sustainability and practicability and usability and improving our lives. All of those factors are way more important than some ego or some personal style or some certain fad or fashion or whatever is going on. So all of these important, these necessary points, they are way, way above style and appeal and fashion statement and so on. Very, very, very much, way above, so much more important to have practicability, usability, and growing your own food, So architecture and growing your own food, these two things are merging, that becomes one. We start now because we're having the problems already now with global warming, and it's just going to get worse. So normal structures may not hold up with the future of the climate catastrophes and so on. Normal structures like this house here, for example, I don't know how long this house will hold up. The deck outside already came down because of two real heavy storms. Heavy rainstorms and snowstorms. And the snow, it doesn't snow very much, but it can snow sometime. There can be a snowstorm. The snow doesn't stay. Maybe it stays for half an hour. That's the longest. Or maybe one night. But that's the longest. But it can weigh down the deck. It can weigh down balconies. It can weigh down any kind of patios or any kind of roof structures or tree limbs. Okay, it can weigh all of that down to the point where it breaks. And heavy rainstorms, they can do a lot of damage. Okay, and then they also they didn't build the house right. They didn't use weather or pressure treated materials. They didn't use materials that are sustainable. Okay, they used untreated wood, and treated wood. Oh, they treat them with that's treated with chemicals. That's not very good either. Chemicals are never good. It's never sustainable. Building with wood is totally unsustainable. Okay, it's not the future. It will not work. If you build with wood, it's gonna get your home is gonna get destroyed in just a few years. Okay, this is a fact. Okay, so you cannot build with wood. You have to build with rebar, barbs, and steel and cement. And that's definitely that will always work. But what we have to have to live in, we have to have very, very large polymer glass dome structures that are very thick and possibly double layer or triple layer, or maybe four layers with vacuum insulation in between. Okay, to make it extra insulated, warm, and stormproof, just like the windows are in an airplane. Okay, they have double, triple, or quadruple layers. These windows, I've always admired those windows when I was a child already. So I thought that was very cool. All of these layers of glass, of polymer glass. I think they've always made those with polymer glass, the airplane windows, because they have to be bulletproof. They have to be really, really, really shock resistant, bulletproof. They have to be totally weatherproof because that's required when an airplane flies very fast and is above the clouds or through clouds or through storms and so on. So that's very necessary. So, and we need to have that here on the ground as well. So this is very important to build large dome structures for single family homes, single family dome structures that are affordable, okay, that don't cost too much, and then it can go up to much larger structures, multi-family dome structures, even small community structures where polymer glass domes are interconnected with one another through dome tunnels, but you can also have dome tunnels standing by themselves. They're making this, they're mass producing this already for the agricultural industry. They have commercial greenhouses that are built with a polymer glass, very, very strong and tall and weather resistant, storm resistant, and those already have like a sprinkler system built inside and all of that. That's specifically made for growing food. But what I'm talking about is we need to have these dome structures or dome tunnel structures that are transparent, that let sunlight through. We need to have that, first of all, just as a living space, okay? Also to grow food. So living space and growing food should be one. It should be one thing, okay? That is merging right now into one thing. I could live in a commercial greenhouse, for example, but then they have a sprinkler system. I would have to turn that off because then I have to have one part of the greenhouse and have my whatever, create some kind of dwelling space there, create, I would say, not a cement slab, but create some kind of living space in there, like a plateau or something. I don't know. I'm thinking about this, what would be the best way to create the living space inside of a commercial greenhouse or polymer dome or dome tunnel. So what would be the best thing to do? And then you have the garden right in front of you. You come out of your dwelling structure, and the dwelling structure doesn't even have to have walls or a roof. So it can just be a plateau and you have your bed on that. And then you just step off that plateau with 2 footsteps and you go into your garden. And there you have either a garden hose, depends on how big your structure is, and how luxurious it is. It can be anything from a simple small garden to a large garden. It can be as large as 10 acres on the inside of that dome structure. That would be a very luxurious dwelling to have, okay? But that costs way more, of course. And then if you want it completely bulletproof, all of that, then you have to have it built out of Elon glass. And that is a polymer glass that Elon Musk created himself. And by the way, I hear so many people are trying to slander him and saying that he just takes what other people made. That's not true at all. He always gives other people the chance because he doesn't have that much. Also, to save time, he would, if someone else made it, then he will praise that person and buy their products and work with them. He wants cooperation. He wants to work together. He's very happy to let the other person have their credits and all of this and their patents and so on. And he shares his own creation with other people. But most of the stuff is his own creation. And if he does take something from someone else, he will improve it. Way, way, way improve it. Okay, so, but the glass, the polymer glass, that is, he puts his mind into all of these things, and he thinks about this for years, and he keeps on thinking about it and writing it down and experimenting, trying to make it better all the time. Okay, so he created a bulletproof glass, but it's obviously very expensive to use that, to have an architecture firm or have a bridge making construction company build something for you. That is, I mean, that's like industrial, on the industrial level. And that is my dream, of course, to have a structure like that. That costs a lot of money. That costs several millions of dollars, of course. If you use Elon glass, it costs even more, costs maybe $100 million. Who knows? I don't know how much. No. Depends on the size, of course. If it's 10 acres or 100 acres, then it will become very expensive. We can't afford it, so we can only do what we can do with the budget we have. So we're aiming at a $50,000 commercial greenhouse that is, let's say, 40 feet wide and 100 feet long. That's all we can afford. That's the maximum we can afford. But we can still use that to live in and grow food. We can grow enough food in it to feed us, the baby dog, Paul and me, okay? And maybe some additional future animals that we will rescue, and that is what we're aiming towards. To rescue a horse, to rescue a cow and a pig. Okay, so that's always been my dream. And if we can do that, that would be amazing, So, and to feed all of them, and then where are they going to be in the winter time? So we have to think about this. Do we have enough space for an additional animal to have in the greenhouse, and what size of animal, So that's not going to be, we have to think about all of this. People have to think about these things, their future plans, and all of this, the home and the structure, and they need to think about this more. They need to think this through before they rescue an animal, and then they have a lot of animals. I see that a lot here in this community, hoarders, and then they can't even feed the animals, but they keep on rescuing animals. Some people rescue animals because then they can say, oh, I rescued another animal, so they can beg for donations. And then they don't even feed the animals. They become corrupt and greedy, and it's awful where law enforcement they have to go in and seize the animals. It's just, and that's in the luckier situation. Okay, so there are people that are hoarding animals, not feeding them, and then nobody sees that even. No one even reports on it. That's the worst case scenario. Okay. That's why we need to have robots and robot drones that are independently functioning as our law enforcement system for the whole planet. And they're going to have to inspect. They're going to have to investigate. They're going to have to interrogate. They're going to have to audit. They're going to have to do all of that work to make sure that people are acting according to our ethics laws. And we don't have the best ethics laws yet, but I'm hoping and wishing for that we will have excellent ethics laws in the future. So, but Elon Musk and Donald Trump are completely clear on what the excellent ethics laws are, and they're aiming towards this. They're working on this to bring our system to that level. So systematically, okay. Just today, Paul told me that they're now cutting off the funding to unnecessary, cruel animal experiments. I know that Robert Kennedy has been helping a lot with this as well. And Elon Musk and Donald Trump are very, very animal friendly and animal lovers. And together they want to have a better system and better protection for the animals. Okay, all three of them are what I consider animal rights people. Okay, people that have a huge heart, that have huge compassion, and that put others above themselves and above any of these any of these other whatever people are concerned with. They put the well-being of all living beings above themselves and above money and above popularity or social acceptance or any of this stuff. Okay, this is really great. But then the Biden criminals have put in a lot of criminal judges, and these judges are still there, many of them. Okay, and they are then just putting a stop to what Donald Trump and Elon Musk have ordered. Okay, so which is a completely chaotic and ridiculous situation, because no judge should have the right to stop the president and the administration from doing good things. Okay, so but they will figure it out. They will figure out how to bring these cruel experiments to an end. They will figure it out. I know they will, because they're geniuses and they are infinitely compassionate, and they will figure out how to work this through. Okay, and they work tirelessly to move forward with this, to protect the animals from suffering and to make the world a better place. So regarding the future of architecture, it's going to be very crystal clear that we're going to have dome structures that are made out of a polymer glass, that are transparent, that lets sunlight in, and where we can grow our own food in it, and where every single person has their own totally self-sufficient, completely independent energy structure, water supply, and their own sewer, their own composting system. So everyone is going to have to switch over to composting toilets. And it works very well. So Paul and I have been doing this now for many years, and we learned along the way. I read it in an environmental magazine. I read an article written by an ecologist and someone with a degree in agriculture, and that person said it is urgently necessary that the human species switches over to composting toilets in order to bring the nutrients back into the soil. This is extremely important. Rudolf Steiner has warned about this around 1920, 1915. He has given many lectures, he has written articles and research papers on this subject. This is very, very important. He warned about this, that people might move in the wrong direction in regards to sewage plants and taking the nutrients out of the soil. So for 100 years this has been going on, and so 100 years of not putting the nutrients back into the soil causes soil depletion. Okay, and soil depletion causes food plants growing that don't have the nutrients the animals and humans need to survive. Okay, and that also is part of the rising epidemic of, I don't like the word, the C word, you know what I mean, the cancer rate. Okay, it is part of that. Okay, if you don't put nutrients in the system, then how can your system fight off any kind of pathogen or disease? Okay? You have to have nutrients in your body. And also then pollution, through human, like, industrial waste pumped into watersheds and oceans and rivers, total pollution of natural water systems with poisons in it. How can that be sustainable? How can people live? How can this continue? It can't. Okay, so that all has to be cleaned up, all of this. And pesticides need to be banned. All pesticides need to be banned. Okay, those are poisonous. We can't, this is not sustainable. People and animals can't handle it. Okay, so all of this has to be switched over, and every single family household, they have to become their own food growers. Okay, whether this is an economic or famine type of emergency, or whether it's not a direct emergency, it has to be done. Okay, this is very, very important. So dome houses, growing your own food, growing your own food plants in your own greenhouse, dome house, or tunnel dome, glass dome, in your own structures. Okay, and you have to live in that as well. You can build something. If you want privacy, you can create a wall. Let's say it doesn't even have to be a wall that is super strong, just for, to create something for privacy. You can build a hedge. You can grow a hedge in that part of the greenhouse all the way around where you're living. Okay, yeah, then people might have drones and they will fly over your roof and spy and look into your house, and that can happen too. So maybe you can, I don't know, you can get creative. You can set up maybe a gazebo tent in there, right? That's all that's necessary to protect yourself from people spying. So, and a large hedge to grow all the way around that has the necessary herbs that you need for your life, like for example, a blackberry hedge on the inside of the greenhouse. It doesn't have to be that thick. It could be, let's say, 3 feet thick and 6 feet or 5 feet tall, right? And keep on trimming it in nice and even. And you can eat blackberry. You can eat blackberries every summer. You have more than enough of blackberries growing on there. You have an unlimited supply of it. And you can freeze them, and you can dry them also, sun dry them. You will have that as for nutrition all year round. And they are highly nutritious, and the leaves are highly medicinal, and they don't have negative side effects at all. They lower blood sugar naturally. They actually cure people from diabetes if they would drink the tea every day. If Paul would drink the tea every day from blackberry leaves, that would heal him. He wouldn't need to have glyphosate or any of these terrible toxic pharma drugs anymore. Glyphosate is extremely toxic and detrimental for people's health and liver and all of that. So, but he doesn't listen to me. What can I do if I can't force someone to do good to themselves? I can only give advice. So, but that would be revolutionary if people lived like this and they have their own pristine food plants growing inside of their dome structure. And you have a gazebo, then you have total privacy from above as well. So then you have a nature bedroom. You can set up some kind of, let's say, you have a cinder block plateau in there. You can even get cinder blocks that are made out of translucent cement, and you can put very simple color LED lights in it and you can even seal all of that up with translucent cement, soft, moldable. I don't know what that's called, like a translucent soft cement that you put in between the cinder blocks that seal that in. And then these LED lights, they can last for 10 or 20 years, before the battery goes down. But then don't worry about it if battery eventually goes down, but you will have 20 years of amazing ambient light on the inside of your floor. So, like, for example, simple lights that only come on when the sun goes down. So, and they turn off when the sun comes up. So, and you have this a glowing floor. That's my dream. I dream of that. I think that's amazing. Yeah, that would be the perfect plateau. It doesn't even have to be a very high plateau. It could be just a glowing cinder block structure plateau of, let's say, like an eighth of an acre or something, or maybe even less, just like, let's say, 6 rooms wide and long, right? Just a nice living space area inside of the greenhouse with the cinder blocks, or with translucent cinder blocks with ambient lights in it. So that would be really amazing. That would be unbelievably amazing. So, yeah, you can create something like this. That would be also financially doable, and people can work on this together and create that. They can set that up. It just requires some physical labor, that's all. And everyone basically could set that up. And these greenhouse structures, they would become modular and go into mass production, and would be easy to be set up, or the setup would be included in the price. Let's say $40,000 for a sustainable greenhouse structure like that, without the sprinkler system, just a simple structure, starting with that price for a single family. 40,000 for the smallest greenhouse structure, and then you can create your own cinder block space just the way you want to on the inside. And we're gonna have to go to composting toilets, all of us, okay? And this is an art. This has to be taught, of course. This has to be taught in extensive classes, all of this, so that people don't repeat the same mistakes that the other people did. And because then, if they don't do it right, it can become a biohazard, and you want to avoid that. So, but it's ultimately, it's very reason based, everything. It's just reason. And I want to say common sense, right? But common sense is not common, so therefore there is no common sense. But not yet, but I hope it will grow that into a common sense that is rational and reasonable and life sustaining. Okay, so that's what I'm hoping for. But we have to educate people. People need education. Hollywood, which has been basically the education system in quotation marks. This is not a real education system, but it has been used as the go-to information source for the majority of people. This is very sad. And Hollywood knows that, and Hollywood is really run by the corporate agenda. It is one big propaganda machine. It's a propaganda tool. That's what it is. And the public has been not only been uneducated or anti-educated, they have been MK Ultra mind controlled into and completely brainwashed into believing things that are that would go completely against sustainability. The only thing that it serves, the whole thing is exploitation of the masses. The only thing that it serves is the cattle ranching industry, the oil industry, the pharma industry, and you name it. I mean, all of these different industries, okay, and their corporations that are profit only oriented. So that's all that Hollywood has served, and it has made people uneducated and even brainwashed them against reason and sustainability, to the point where people they're actually feeling ashamed of talking about environmentalism and making the world a better place, because they don't want to be called Erin Brockovich, right? Bro, Erin Brockovich is the coolest woman, like one of the coolest women in the world, okay? It should be a compliment. I would take it as someone calls me a Brockovich. Thank you, yeah. That is a good thing to be a Brockovich. Or I'm doing a Brockovich. It's a good thing. Yes, it's good. Yeah, people have to be told that it's good instead of bad. Because Hollywood has said bad. So we have to say good. So counterbalance that. The switch of the thumb, right? Counterbalance that. So people have to be told, okay? Friedrich Nietzsche is good, not bad, okay? But they have been brainwashed against Friedrich Nietzsche. Because Friedrich Nietzsche said some really good things that were empowering people. The corporate agenda doesn't want that. They don't want people to be empowered. So they told people, don't even read the books, okay? Or you'll be shamed if you read the books. So I'm going to tell you, read all of his books if you want to empower yourself. That'll be a good idea. That will make the world a better place. So we have to start with education. I do my part. I do whatever I can on the internet. When I see bullshit, I have to educate people. I feel compelled. I feel the duty to do this. Okay, it's my duty to the earth. And I've educated a lot of people already. And it feels good. It feels good to do something that moves the world towards the future we want to see. Okay, so it feels very, very good. So this is a big subject, obviously. Future of sustainability, the future of the way we live, the future of our homes. Okay, this is very, very huge. And you will see that I was right. The weather is just gonna get worse from here. Okay, homes are gonna be flooded out, floating out, mudslided down, stormed down, weighed down by snow, sudden snow, extreme tornadoes, water damage, termite damage, all of these kind of things. Okay, so build sustainably with sustainable materials: steel, stainless steel, cement, and a polymer glass, or yeah, translucent cement, which has glass particle, which is silica. Okay, but silica in a structure, in an amalgamation of cement, is obviously bulletproof. It's obviously very, very strong. But then you can't see through. It's not like a window, but it lets light through. So some people are building their entire buildings with translucent cinder blocks. And because of that, they have natural sunlight come in, but at the same time, you can't see through like a glass, but it lets light in, which is already cuts down on electricity, because then they need much less fluorescent lights or LED lights. Hopefully, they use LED lights. Okay. So, but they won't have to use lights during the day then. And of course, most modern buildings are just have just glass walls all the way around, and they're usually very strong and very insulated, and probably also storm-proof and all of this. But I would say we need to phase away from high-rise buildings. I think that's very important, that city structures have to be dissolved, that is not a sustainable way of living at all. Okay, living in compartments of high-rise buildings, that's also not very healthy, and that's not good for anyone. But the people that want to live like this, that's okay, just don't have an animal in there, because that's not animal friendly. If you want a companion, get a companion robot, or robot dog. A lot of people in Asia have that now. The ones that live in very modern or high-rise buildings, apartments and structures like this, and they understand that that's not good for an animal, to not good for a cat either. Okay, so in South Korea, a cat, that was just one out of millions and billions of sad stories what happened during the pandemic outbreak in 2020. The lady ended up in the emergency room in the hospital, and she was on the ventilator, South Korea, and her cat was in her apartment, and she lived there alone with her cat. And the only way these animals could be protected from gruesome death of starving and thirsting to death and in loneliness and all of that, was there was a good Samaritan guy, a Korean guy, who was going from one apartment to the other. And a lot of these people, they left their doors unlocked deliberately when they were brought to the hospitals. They wanted the doors unlocked because they wanted someone to go in and take care of their animals. So this one guy went from one apartment to another to feed the animals, give them water, and he also opened the window for air, get some ventilation, or opened them a gap at least. Sideways opened it, I guess. I don't know what kind of windows they have. But he opened the window a gap just to fit a cat through, and the lady's cat ended up going outside of the window in the high-rise building on the 100th floor, and walking on a very narrow pathway on a roof, because the cat was looking for the lady. She wanted to find her, and then the cat slipped off the roof and fell to her death down into the parking lot. That's just one of these millions of horrifically heartbreaking stories. So it is not good to have an animal in an apartment. That's a fact, okay? Particularly not a high-rise building. That's not an animal-friendly environment at all. An animal should be able to get out into a garden and smell flowers and look at birds and see other animals and so on, and smell air and get sunlight on them. That's the healthy way of living. And in a commercial greenhouse or in a dome house, glass dome house, polymer glass dome house, we can have an animal-friendly environment. Okay, we can have, the bigger that space is, the better for the animal, of course. If you have 10 acres of space on the inside, you can even have a horse in there, or two even. And of course they should have access also to another outdoor space as well, to another 100 acres outside of that greenhouse. And they should have like a double soft door, curtain door, where they can get through. So they make those for the agricultural industry, and they can go through these rubber curtain doors, and they can go outside, they can run, and they can come back in if they get cold and they want to get heated up. So that's the way of the future of living for animals, for humans. And it's very important to grow our own food, to create our own compost for the food. And the way we do it, this works the absolute best, depends on the size of the family, but we have two properties, and on each property we have about 10 regular sized garbage containers. That they're not expensive. You can get them on sale for $5 each, even if they're about between $5 and $10. Then they don't cost very much. You drill holes in the bottom, on the side, and into the lid. Not too many holes, a few holes, okay, for insects to get in, for earthworms to get in. And get them without wheels. Get them just to stand on the ground without wheels underneath. So we already tried all of this. The wheels, they don't work. That doesn't work very well. So the earthworms have to get in there, and it has to be all standing on the ground. And you put all of your bio-waste in, including dog and human. All the bio-waste goes in there. Okay, so everything biological, from dung, which is poop, and kitchen compost. Everything goes in there, and even like grass clippings and tree needles falling down, and you can, he has a specific lawnmower that collects all of this. He goes over it even on the cement, that collects all the needle that have fallen from the tree, and that makes a great mulch type of material. We collect that in a separate container, and I use that to clean the toilet buckets with it. Of course, you have to have water. It has to be rinsed, and then you can clean the toilet bucket just with the grass clippings or the bunch of needles from the tree. You take that in the hand and you wipe the rim of the bucket a few times. You wipe it on the inside, and then you put it into the bucket. And you have about a layer this high on the inside of the bucket with materials, plant materials, and then you have that bucket for a day and a night until you poop into it again, or you have made a bunch of pee-pee in it, and then you have to, after the poop, you go out to the compost containers, you empty it in it, you rinse it again, and you clean it again. And that's how you have to do it. That's the way to do it, okay? For everyone included, including Prince Charles and the Pope, okay? So it is what it is. That's what we have to do. It is not that difficult. It's actually, I have compared it to different toilets, and I have to say it is easier. I find it actually, even if I have to go out in the rain. Right now we don't have the greenhouse, but once you have the greenhouse, you don't have to go out into the rain, okay? You just take your bucket out to your compost area. It could be at the other end of that dome house, for the smell, to guard yourself from smells and all of this. But here's the way to prevent smells. We have already experienced this and tested this all the way into infinity. So it should be, of course, away from your dwelling space, but it doesn't generate smells. And the reason why is because after I put the compost and the dung into the large compost container, I pick up already decomposed soil with a rake and a dustpan, and I pour large dustpan, very large, and I pour the dustpan on top of the dung. So that completely eliminates the smell. Then you put the lid on top, and you have no smell at all. And inside of that compost container is extreme activity of bioactivity, okay, biological flora and fauna that is going on inside of there, of insects and earthworms and other maggots and different things and all of those are good, okay? We have been brainwashed into thinking this is icky or something, or this is something to avoid, or because the pesticide industry, they want to sell you a spray or something. I've seen all of this. It's heartbreaking. Okay, I don't want people spray anything on a worm or maggot. Flies are useful. Okay, they really are. The maggots are useful. Those are scavengers. All of those are useful, good for the earth. They turn compost into fresh smelling, nutrient-rich soil that you use for your plants to grow and become real strong and very nutritious. Okay, that's a fact. All of this is a fact. Okay, And if we create this, we can turn this world here into a complete paradise. We can create a Garden Eden, and I promise you a rose garden with this. I promise this to you. This is not just a guess or some advice. This is a promise. It's a guarantee for you, okay? That's your ticket to a rose garden, a paradise, a Garden Eden, okay? Let's do it. Let's get this going. Let's get that started. But that means you have to question the society standards that most people are adhering to right now. You have to question it. You have to have the courage to stand alone and take these necessary steps to move towards a better world, to create a better world. It does not mean you have to have a lot of money for it. Every single person can do it. Okay, that's the beauty of this. Okay, so I will talk more in my future videos about this because this is very, very important. Anyway, peace and love for all living beings.